Hi everyone, this is Ashwini. Welcome to CKA Hands-On channel. The purpose of my channel is to get people who want to give CKA 2025 exam get started on the hands-on practicing journey once they finish the formal course of CKA and have a basic understanding of Kubernetes concepts. This creates a depth in your understanding of each concept and helps you crack CKA exam. Today's video is one of the videos in my playlist series Workloads and Scheduling, which constitutes 15% of the CKA exam. So let's try to understand the question and jump straight into solving the question. So we'll set the context. It says you need to create a Kubernetes pod and a service to host a simple web application that prints it works when accessed. Follow these steps. Create a pod named app pod with the following specifications: container, and then this is the name of the container, image, and the port. Okay, and then we create a service. So that this service is accessing this pod, and then we have to do kubectl port forward to forward one of the local ports to the pod's port, and then we access the web application using the curl. Okay, let's try to get started. So one of the first things is create a pod, right? I generally, unless if there is just the image and then the name of the pod and then container port, then I would use an imperative command. But if you got like a container name, then I just use it in the declarative way. I go to get the example manifest and then just start replacing the values, because if it is just one or two options, then it's easy personally for me to run it imperatively. If there are more than one options, I prefer it declarative, because that's how I am used to creating it, because it'll just be a lot of time trying to figure out what is the option flag and everything, whereas in declarative I'll just go and replace the comments. So that's my personal preference, but some people might be considering it easier to run it imperative way, but it's all up to you. We're just creating the pod in any way. Let's quickly check. Okay, so it's the app pod, app container, image, http, latest ports and container. Now it says select the pod. For the service, which I have observed is that it even though it doesn't specify the pod in the pod creation, it says you have to select the label. It doesn't specify the pod. So I will I'll specify the labels as well. Even though but this may not be the case in your exam, because in exam everything will be clearly mentioned. App equal to, so don't do anything that is not asked in the question, because you might lose marks for this. So just only do what is this video for me is to make everything the concept clear for people. App, again, that's better. App lab. So I just want to wait until the container is waiting. It's running now, and now I have to create a service. It says the service type of cluster IP. When you don't specify any type, it is by default cluster IP. Cluster IP, we have gone through this multiple times. A cluster IP is an IP or a service that you can use within the cluster. So it's internal to the customer. It's not externally exposed, it's just exposed internally. So app service, and then the selector is See, if I had created that pod without that selector, and if I just say, okay, my selector is app lab, then it will not find any pods with that, and we will get errors. So that's why I just specified, even though it's not asked. But in exam, just only do what is asked. So port service port is 80 and target port is also 80. So I'm gonna replace this. Yeah, it's TCP, and 38 minus fs.yaml. So service is created, and now I want to describe the service to show that it is cluster IP. It's internal endpoint. I just want to so what I'm doing here is I'm trying to do a curl on the service IP. We can also do HTTP. I think we can do this. Let's try. Cannot. Oh, I thought it should maybe within the container. Okay, not maybe on the local host. So, but the IP definitely is working. You can see that it's Apache HTTPD and it's going to that pod, and we're getting that it works when it. But what they are asking is, this is on the port of that IP, right? They want to use the local port to the pod's port. So we have to do like a port forwarding. Okay, this is like, understand this as this is some other IP. Okay, my IP of this control plane is something else. On the control plane, I want to on the control plane IP, I want to, if I do, for example, if I do HTTP localhost, I'll not get anything because the default port is 80, because the local port is not forwarded to any other port, right? It doesn't have anything, so I am going to get nothing, right? It is not able to connect with nothing listening on the local host. So that's why we do port forwarding. Now don't worry if you do not know how to port forward. That is why we have -h. So if you see, and then one of the good things here is you always have a lot of examples. So even if you are in the exam, if you do not know, you haven't executed this command, it's just worth going through the example so that you understand a little bit and try giving it a shot. If you cannot solve it, try 2 to 3 times, and then if it get it working, then fine. Otherwise, just move on to the next question. But always try to go through the examples. You might be able to do something, get something, some help there. So you can port forward to a pod. You can also port forward to a service, and you can specify a random port where you don't specify any port, and then you just specify the target port, and then this command will give you that port, local port, where it is forwarding, right, where the local port. But you can also do like 8080, right? I just want to try that. So I want to use the service kubectl port forward service app service, and let's just say my local port is 8080 and I'm using the services port on 80. So you can see that it is doing right. Now if I go to another tab, and always remember the first port is your local host port, that is your node port, and the next port is your target port of the resource that you are forwarding it to, whether it can be a service or a pod, right? And if I do curl HTTP localhost 8080, I should get that it works. Basically that, yeah. I want to also show you different variations of it, so I can also do the pod. Same thing, still works. I now want to do it on a random port where I don't specify any port, and just 80 on the pod. It still gives me a random port which I will use, and if I try to now, if I do on 88, it will not work, but if I do it on this port, the random port that it has chosen, it'll work. So that is how you do the port forwarding to a pod or service, from to forward a local port to the pod's port or a services port. If you think my videos are helpful, please give my videos a like, share, and also subscribe to my channel. I'll be posting more videos, and I will be posting the KillerCoda link and the descriptions, the playlist in my video description as well. If you have any questions or any feedback, please let me know in the comments. I will see you in the next video. Until then, happy learning. Bye.